Literally.
Literally. Ya Allah.
Literally.
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 Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. I'll try to lighten the mood by giving you guys a bit of a meme in the very beginning, but this is a very, very somber, very, very sad state of affairs for all parties involved, man. This Masha Slamovich shit, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's spiraling out of control. So we got a couple of things we have to go over. I'm going to recap her statement that I posted on the community post yesterday. I didn't really take the time to really let it sink in as far as what it meant, as far as her standing on the situation, because I was so obsessed with God of War last night. But we're going to go over that today. Akira's friend absolutely dropped a nuke on this girl, which I don't think she's going to be able to recover from. There was some stuff that I left out of Akira's response yesterday that I want to go over again. I think I only read 2 excerpts. Apparently, it went a little bit deeper than just what I initially read. And I think Homegirl just completely ruined her chances with WWE. We'll get to that, but first, let's reread her statement that she wrote yesterday that I posted on my community post. Because I think there's some things that we now have to go over, because it's now brought up to light, right? So, and this was posted by We Are Wrestling. She says, up until the beginning of this year, I was in a toxic and mutually destructive relationship. Stop right there. Just the very beginning. We now know that you did write the text messages. First and foremost, before we even continue with this, we know you wrote the text messages. Never start an apology by immediately blaming the other party. Don't do that. Don't do that, especially with the precedent that's already been set when it comes to men, not just in wrestling, but just overall, right? You need to come correct. This is a very rare situation where a woman is on the opposite end of this. Don't play the emotional game. Don't put this directly back on Akira. Don't do that. It's going to be very, very, very hard not to play the whataboutism throughout this entire video. I'm going to try my very best. I might slip up a couple of times. But now that this is confirmed, I can go off like I really want to go off. Now that I know that this is true, I can really say what I really want to say. Don't play these bullshit emotional tactics that women typically try to play with this kind of situation. Nikki Bella did the same bullshit also when it came to Artem. Don't do this. You guys constantly get away with this shit on the offset when you happen to be the victims. Now all of a sudden a man is the victim and you want to try to swap it around and throw it on them? Don't pull that bullshit. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Hold the L. Take responsibility. Take full accountability for the shit that you did. The fact that you're trying to spin this and trying to say because you were caught red-handed that apparently, oh no, it was also Akira that he did. Did he put his hands on you? You haven't made note of that. Did he put his hands on you? Because that's all I care about. All that going back and forth emotion. Did he put his hands on you? No, he didn't, because you would have made that known? Okay, let's keep going. We hurt each other deeply, and in private moments, failed to treat each other with the consideration and respect we both deserve. I take responsibility for my actions, and I am sorry, embarrassed, ashamed of the role I played in our relationship and the way things turned out. In the time since, I have sought help to reflect on this time and deal with conflict in more mature, healthier, and sustainable ways. I apologize to those that I let down, including my former partner. I hope he is able to heal. This will be my only statement on the matter. Yeah, let this be the only statement on the matter, because this was ass. This whole response was beyond ass. I hate, and I know people are going to probably be in the comments saying, well, you're doing it right now, Devontae. Shut the fuck up. I hate dogpiling on people. I truly do. And I try my best to mitigate that situation with myself whenever looking at a response. And you see how I approached it yesterday, right? I said, you know what? Let's hear her response first. Give her the benefit of the doubt, because you never know. Crazier shit has happened when it comes to responses, right? Crazier shit has happened when it comes to faking responses, as far as or faking the actual allegations in itself. Let's hear her out. And we heard her out. And essentially what she said with this post is, I got caught and I'm sorry. That's all I heard. I hear, I got caught and I'm sorry. What I hear is, he said words to me, I said words to him. I did not like words he said to me, so I hit him. That's what I heard. I heard a narcissist essentially saying, I'm going to manipulate the situation as much as possible to try to get any sympathy for myself, even though I am the perpetrator, even though I am in the wrong. Nothing of what you said, Masha, is going to take away for what you did in those text messages. We seen everything, we read everything, and you're taking ownership of it by not denying the fact that that was you. Everything that you're saying right now is the complete opposite of what you said in those text messages. You said no apologies. You said you're not going to forgive him. That's what you said. You said there are no chances. This is over. That's what you said after hitting him. So how are you trying to walk this back now? And it's not even the fact that you're trying to walk this back. You're trying to actually put the onus on the person that you abused. That you abused not just physically, but emotionally. Not just emotionally, but physically also. You drained this man of his finances. You're going to try to play the victim now because you got caught, because this is the only way you can respond. The only way you should respond going forward is, like you said, the only thing that matters is that last line in that passage. This will be my only statement on the matter. Good. Thumbs up. Make this your only statement because you're fucking terrible at this. Oh, but it gets so much worse, right? Because Akira's friend, he ended up taking to Twitter and he ended up putting her straight up on blast. So I'm gonna have a hard time actually saying this guy's name, but I think this is his name, Elhelio del Pavo Real. I think that's how you say his name and pronunciation. He responded to this whole bullshit apology, quote unquote, by saying this: mutually destructive. You're so full of shit. Your teeth are stained brown. Holy shit. I've sat in cars listening to you scream and threaten Alex, which is Akira, because your buddies in TNA said he stole your finisher. The only thing you've done since dumping Alex is lose your hair and get addicted to cocaine. You haven't self-reflected for a fucking second of your vile existence. He fucking loved you and you beat him like a stuffed pig. Fuck you. Fuck your first... What does that mean? Your rapist boyfriend? And go worry about... Is that what he mean? Is that what it says? I think that means rapist, I guess. Holy shit. Fuck you. Fuck your rapist boyfriend. And go worry about that thing you've been hiding from the world for 6 years. You homophobic, disloyal, unfaithful cunt. Oh my God. Don't ever speak of my best friend again, and let alone think of him with what limited brain cells you have left firing off in your brain. I read this live with you guys. I read the first passage, the first paragraph, and I said, okay, let me link this because I know this is going to be something that's going to go more in detail with the situation. Those last two paragraphs, I'm actually reading this live with you guys for the first time, hence my reaction. So you dumped him. Now, I gotta say this because, again, we don't know the extent of where he's going with this. I guess she has a new boyfriend. That's an emoji of a grapist. That's typically people who try to code words so they don't have to really say the real words so they don't get blocked in the comment section. She means rapist, or he means rapist. I'm not sure if it's a boy or a girl. I think this is a boy. He accused her current boyfriend, I presume, of being a rapist. He said that she's addicted to cocaine, she's losing her hair, and apparently she's a homophobe. Yeah, this girl's career is cooked. She's fucking cooked. She's absolutely fucking cooked. What did he mean, though, by rapist boyfriend? Where did that come from? That's absolutely new to the fucking arc. I don't know. I gotta look this up. Hang on for a second. Let me pause this for a second. I gotta pause this. Let me see. I want to see if I can find some information and maybe put a link down here. Okay, so yeah, I did find out who her boyfriend was, and I'm not sure if I want to talk extensively about any of this. You know what? I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be very, very, very cautious with how, like, originally I did link his Twitter page. If you want to go search it out, you can search it out, because I need some strong validity and I need some strong confirmation before I end up going out of my way to, like, because this is not even like destructive. This is actively ruining someone's life if this happens to be true, right? Or not true, for that matter. But you know, the information is out there, so I feel comfortable at the very least saying his name, but I'll only go as far as that, and then talking about the excerpt that this person from Deathmatch Wrestling Appreciation ended up posting. So apparently her boyfriend name is Matthew Justice. He is a GCW wrestler, and they ended up posting this. Masha Slamovich cheated on Akira with Matthew Justice, who was also sleeping around, is accused of SA, sending personal photos of him and others, attended the Halls of Glory, spread some STDs, and also took it in the... Where's my life going? Where's my life going? Again, this is beyond life ruining, so take this with a grain of salt until you actually hear confirmation. Okay, legitimate confirmation, not through just friends and stuff like that, like an actual investigation, or like Masha, you self-snitch on yourself. Do not, I repeat, do not attack this man. Do not go after this man. He did not admit to anything, and as far as we know, outside of what her friends and witnesses are saying, who are her friends, we don't know to what degree this man has to do with any of the allegations that's being levied against him. Apparently he's being called a rapist, and apparently he's being accused of allegedly spreading STDs. I don't know what to make of that. So for now, let's just focus on Masha, but the information is out there if I guess you would like to see. Again, that's horrific. But apparently, in the process of looking this up also, because I got this information mainly through this person in the Pirate Matteo, which I only can presume she or he is friends with Akira, because they have a lot of information, and they did say to themselves, I think I read a post saying that they kept it to themselves out of respect for Akira. I'll put the post right here. Actually, let me see if I can find it real quick so I can read it for you guys in real time, so there's no need to actually go out of your way to go look for the post. But this gets even a little bit more deeper outside of just reflecting off of this, because he actually has pictures to go along with this. But here, this is the post. He said, I knew about what Masha done as I was one of a few, I knew about what Masha had done as I was one of a few who got to see the full evidence, and I tell you, it's very damaging for this business. But this business doesn't need someone like Masha at all, because she thinks that she doesn't owe the business and that it owes her. She's a drug addict and abuser. And then he puts underneath that, out of respect for Akira, I chose not to tweet the evidence. But obviously, because of the information, he absolutely did leak the evidence, and these were pictures from his posts. Look at them. Actually, this first picture that you're seeing right here is a frying pan, and the context behind this is allegedly, according to this guy Matteo, she used that on Akira, and then Here are some more pictures. Again, take this for what you will. You could say it's, not that big of a deal, but apparently this is evidence of the actual abuse in itself, right? So I got to do my due diligence and at least post that, right? But again, all the stuff that are coming out right now, if you were to tell me this before Masha actually came out with the allegations or her responding to the allegations, I dare say this sounds almost like a goddamn smear campaign, almost. But then she comes out and then she owns it. She owns the text messages, right? She owns the text messages. She admits to hurting him and the text messages that she owns. And then there are so many people around her corroborating this evidence. This is now starting to look more like a situation like Tessa Blanchard, right? But at least with this, we have extensive evidence aside from just the boyfriend in itself, which again, do not go after him because you don't know whether or not he actually did anything. But this is craziness. This is craziness, and it gets even deeper because, like I said, I didn't fully read Akira's response as I should have. Apparently, I left some details out, and now that we have all this context, it's only right if we go back over it again and we read the entire thing in its fullest context, right? So I'm gonna read it from the top. I woke up to this and people asking me if I was okay. Kind of want to throw up, kind of want to go away forever. My friend held back for months, talking about the Jasmine lady who leaked all this information, because I asked her to, and I would have never said anything. I still really don't want to. I didn't want to lash out in anger because I was angry, skibbity-sidle, and depressive since the end of January. I'm not alive though if she didn't take my calls every day while caring for her sick grandfather. I'm not alive if my roommate, by the way, when he says sick grandfather, I'm presuming he's referring to Jasmine, but continuing on. I'm not alive if my roommate Raph didn't laugh with me at stupid videos daily. I'm not alive if Del Patricks and Simon Gotch weren't there for me. And then this is the part that I actually ended up skipping yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. If not this, I think it's the latter portions. I gave a lot with little in return. I had a lot of growing up to do, and despite my progression, I was always told I was never doing enough. The things I liked and did were stupid and waste of time. Things I told about my thoughts on my gender and the confusion I was feeling was turned on me. I was lied to about finances and spent more than I should have because I thought we were struggling together. By the way, I did read this portion yesterday and I'm glad I'm reading it again. The context behind this allegedly is that she went out of his way to waste all his money that he was using for Uber for her own stuff. So she would take his money and spend it on her Uber or Lyft or whatever to get around town. And I guess he never recouped any of the finances. Apparently that's the case. In the context behind that. And this is the portion that I think I actually ended up skipping. He said, I almost skibbity'd myself 3 times as the life I tried to build with someone was torn apart and became nothing to that person. It was like a withdrawal. Every time I went to the hospital, that person I put on a pedestal was gone. It didn't matter, or I didn't matter, excuse me. I would have never said anything. I only came out with my prior experiences of sexual abuse because I was spiraling alone in Japan. I tried my best, but my best was never good enough, and all my accomplishments and money were nothing but tools for someone else. Many things said in confidence turned and used against me. I can't get that time back. I can't get the money back. I can't get the last 4 years of my life back. I was just trying my best to come back and be with my family and friends and dog and try to get signed. I dreamed of doing things. Maybe it won't happen now. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. Not anymore. I'm apathetic. I've moved on and there's still bitterness in my stomach. I don't let it guide me. I've grown up as a person and a wrestler. I've grown up mentally, physically, and spiritually. I'm still figuring things out and I have nothing to say to that person. I adore them. I still feel phantom pains in my heart every time I see a photo. They're a part of my life and history. I don't get to where I am now, a mature and thoughtful person with a healthy dose of CTE, without the experiences I went through and the isolation I experienced in a foreign country. But it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. Like I said, I left that portion of the video yesterday by accident because I didn't scroll down further and I didn't take snippets of it after the editing process. But I'm actually kind of happy that I did do that, because now that we have Masha saying all this and we have the context, it just makes it more complete. You know what I mean? And I didn't even know, apparently, according to Akira, I guess he was sexually assaulted while in Japan or some other country, but I think he said Japan. It just adds more to this. Now, typically I will look at the gender stuff, and that's not really my cup of tea. I don't really care for any of the gender stuff. It is what it is. Not even looking at that. I'm focusing strictly on the experiences that this dude has went through, allegedly, right? Well, I don't want to say allegedly, because this is what you still got to say allegedly, right? Because even though it's his experiences, we still don't have any proof that he did go through that. So you do technically have to say allegedly. But we do know that Masha owned the tweets. She essentially said it was her, and those tweets being provided are these things that correlate with what Akira is saying. So that's what we need to focus on. That needs to be the actual outright focus. And it gets even worse, because one final thing that I want to talk about that I feel like puts a nail in the coffin for Masha. So as you guys know, she was being dropped left and right by all these promotions that initially had her wrestling for their show, right? Well, apparently Masha was, because I guess everybody was speculating after the whole TNA invasion of NXT on Tuesday. People were saying, oh, wow, did WWE not want anything to do with her, so she wasn't able to join in on the invasion. Well, according to Fightful, obviously being vetted through Cultaholic, well, not vetted, but being presented through Cultaholic, they said Masha Slamovich was reportedly never planned for the TNA invasion of NXT. This is reportedly due to her contract with TNA expiring soon. Prior to the allegations, it was up in the air if she would remain with the company. Now, when I hear remain with the company and it was up in the air, not to mention, I think she has done some spots here and there, right, with WWE, NXT. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But when I hear up in the air, the fact that you are even, thinking about this makes me believe there's a shot that you probably could have gone to WWE. It sounds like it, right? You're actively on TNA, you're wrestling consistently, and now all of a sudden, because of the allegations, after or prior to the allegations, you being with the company was up in the air. What sounds like is either negotiations with TNA, which would have allowed you to actually join the invasion, obviously, which is now gone, or it sounds like you were disputing whether or not you were going to join WWE, which just puts a final nail in that coffin, right? Not only are you probably done with TNA after all these revelations came out, because no one's going to want to be fucked up with you. Again, this is different than Tessa Blanchard, because Tessa Blanchard, at least with her, there's all speculation. All of this is eyewitness testimony, but at the same time, it's just a bunch of people, not to mention her going out of her way to hug the lady from, Puerto Rico or something like that, which pretty much explicitly says, hey, I'm making amends with this woman. Why are you making amends with someone if you didn't really say it, right? So all this stuff with Tessa could be chalked up to speculation, technically speaking, even though we pretty much know that she did it. But with Masha, it's all out in the open. Pictures of this man being abused, friends and testimonies all over the place, text messages right there, and you owning the text messages. There's no running from this. And like I said, this is just one of those situations in professional wrestling that it makes for episodes like the dark side of wrestling. Everything comes out to light. Again, you rarely get to take your secrets to the grave, right? And from what it sounds like, after seeing everything, we can now feasibly confirmed, as far as the court of public opinion, that Masha Slamovich is indeed a piece of shit. She's indeed a piece of shit. From the allegations, at the very least, of her cheating with a alleged rapist. It's already bad enough that you cheated on Akira, but you cheated on him with a rapist. to you abusing him as far as the emotional abuse and then manipulating him for what we read yesterday as far as the text messages, to essentially now we can say in hindsight stealing his money, or at the very least using him for his money. Let's say that. I like that context better. That fits it more. To apparently, like I said, not my cup of tea, but it's emotional abuse, to take what he's saying about his gender and all this stuff and using it to attack him with, to apparently actually physically hitting him with, allegedly, to the far extent of a frying pan. Again, you're a monster. You're an outright fucking monster. And to be honest with you, the extent of what we're seeing with just the evidence coming out of this, I mean, honestly, we should now start talking about criminal implications in this, right? I don't know how far this extends as far as the legality goes, but like I feel like now that we have evidence, we have all this stuff is, I don't know, but at this point, again, if for nothing else, an investigation should be opened on her boyfriend to know what are they alluding to as far as spreading STDs and being a rapist, and to you as far as the actual physical abuse. This all needs to be criminally implicated now, if you ask me. But that's just if you ask me. I'm asking you guys, how do you feel about this entire situation? Do you have any things that you'd like to throw into this? Your 2 cents? Are you still gonna follow Masha? Are you still a fan of hers? Does this not affect you at all? And more importantly, I think this has to be said. A man, like, as people have been bringing up for the longest right now, like Odyssey Jones, went down for something much lesser, with zero evidence and zero proof outside of the woman saying that he did something. He got fired before he even got pulled from television. Well, here you have Masha Slamovich, mountains of evidence, including herself snitching. This is not even equality at this point anymore. This is legitimate confirmation that needs to be taken at face value and needs to be discussed thoroughly, and action needs to be taken immediately. Not just pulling her from shows, but again, we have actual proof. So what about those criminal implications surrounding her in general? Or is this really, are you really that much of a simp or that much of a feminist where you're just going to turn a blind eye to this? Hopefully not. And hopefully you have a bit of common sense. I hope Akira feels better when it's all said and done. Horrible, shitty situation. And quite frankly, everybody that's being affected by this who's affiliated with Masha in some type of way. But if any more news breaks out of this, we'll talk about it more. But I feel like as of right now, we can put a bow tie on this. So as always, my name is Millennial Smark, aka Devontae. And talk about it amongst each other in the comment section. Terrible, devastating news. A deuces and a P. Ice.